Thanks for checking out this video where I will be ranking all the movies in the Arrow Video Enter the Video Store Empire of Screams box. And by the way, for anyone who liked this or was interested in it, it is still available in certain places. And they have said, a representative from Arrow has actually said that they're going to do something else like this in the future. It won't necessarily be more Empire movies, but they're going to do something very similar to this box set, which I'm all for because I think it's super cool, it's super fun. And for this one, you have 5 pretty fun Empire films. So let me go ahead and go through each one. I don't want this to take too long, but let me take the slipcover off, which I don't really understand, except for just keeping this on. All right, so I'm going to go... Oh, and I guess I should say off the top, there is a booklet in this with essays about the movies and about Empire as a company and its downfall. I have not read these yet. I will at some point. I just haven't gotten to that point, but I'm sure they're pretty solid. So let's talk about these movies. I'm going to go with my number 5. I'm going from my least favorite to my most favorite. Least favorite, unfortunately, has got to be Robot Jox. I was pretty excited about watching this one because it's giant robots fighting. You know, that sounds like a whole lot of fun. Plus, there's stop motion animation in it, which I'm a big fan of stop motion animation. Now, the problem with this movie for me is there some fun to be had? Yes, there's some fun. The robot fights. When the robot fights are happening, that's when it's fun. The story is terrible. It's so watered down and it's so just kind of formulaic for... I don't know, a lot of different movies. Like, you'll watch this and be like, man, I've seen this type of movie so many times, minus the robots. The robots are the cool part, but it's just not interesting characters, not interesting dialogue, not interesting story to it, and that stuff just drones on so freaking long that you're just like, can we just have a whole movie of just, like, nonstop robot fighting, which that would have been way too expensive because of all the stop motion, but for some reason... This is the release in this box set that has the most special features. Although the special features are good because it includes one special feature that's literally just talking about the stop motion animation and some people involved with that and how they pulled it off. That's cool, especially for someone like me who loves stop motion animation. It gives you some behind the scenes footage of them kind of doing the process during the filming, which was really cool as well. Interview with some people involved with the films. Those are typically good. You do get an anecdote right there in there about having payment issues, which is something that is also echoed in the... I was looking over there to be reminded. Also echoed in the special features for the movie Arena. It seems like that was a big problem with Empire and Charles Band, is that he was green-lighting movies or starting to work on movies with certain budgets that he could not pay for. So he was really hoping that the movies he was finishing and putting out would be making the money so he could cover what he needed to pay for. Now, there's one actor in particular in Robot Jox who said that he was asked to not be paid for the last week of work. He literally was asked if they could not pay him 1/10 of what he was owed per his contract. And he was like, I'm not going to do work for free. So that was kind of a reoccurring issue. And I don't know, like, there were some musings about, is this still going on with Charles Band with Full Moon? We don't know. Like, is he on the edge of just closing down shop at any moment, like kind of happened with Empire? But it's interesting to hear that stuff. So special features on this are really great. The movie's not great, but the robot stuff is pretty fun. So yeah, still a good watch. I enjoyed it enough. So my number 4, my second least liked one, unfortunately, is Cellar Dweller. I had not seen this one before, was pretty interested to see it because it is horror, and I like to watch horror stuff. Love the artwork on there, super cool. But for me, it's too slow. The story's kind of compelling in the beginning, like the opening sequence is really cool, and it's just basically, you know, a guy who dies mysteriously in this house, and then it turns into like an art studio or like an art institute for people, and they come there and someone draws some stuff and it starts kind of conjuring this ancient evil, you know, and this dude's involved, which, you know, when the practical effects happen, it is fun, it is cool. But there weren't enough of those moments in order to make it like a really fun, cool movie. The story's just not that compelling, the characters aren't that compelling, and the dialogue's not that compelling. But overall, like, is it worth a watch? Yes. I do know some people who have a real soft spot for this film, and I can understand why, but it's just, you know, it's really not my thing. Now, the interviews for this one were pretty cool. They had we're talking about John Carl Buechler, or Beckler, who is the guy who directed this, and his career, which was really interesting to hear about that one. And yeah, so pretty good special features on it. Okay enough film, but yeah, Cellar Dweller is my number 4. Now, my number 3 is Arena. Arena is a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this one. Also had not seen this one before. It's literally like a sci-fi human living on a space station getting involved in like Thunderdome style fighting aliens, which is fun. Now, they didn't have enough aliens that they designed. They literally said in the special features that there were instances where they were kind of recycling pieces of other aliens to kind of put something different together in like a montage portion at least. But it's cool to see all the creatures that they did create. The costumes are fun, even though you can tell they're like very clumsy and it was hard for some people to move. And that's actually talked about in the special features, which is awesome. But it's fun. It's not a great story, but it's a fun and light and kind of funny story. It definitely hits as like a so bad it's good type film, and the acting is fun. You know, there's like some not great acting, but fun acting. It's a really good time. I really did enjoy this one. Now, I need to figure out who is the guy. There was one guy in particular who they interviewed. Yes, Danny Bilson, who was the co-screenwriter of this and also co-wrote Trancers, Zone Troopers, and The Rocketeer. Now, he had not many good things to say about Charles Band, which was very interesting to hear him kind of air all this dirty laundry in the special features. He did say that he is like a nice guy, but he was talking about all these kind of really bad practices he had with the company, and was also very upset with the fact that his script was basically gutted. It kind of seemed like what he was saying is that productions under Charles Band were so fractured that like it was hard for like one vision, like an original vision or one coherent vision, to actually come through in any of the movies, because the screenwriter would have one vision and then that would be changed by the producer, then that would also be changed by the director, and then you had the people kind of acting who weren't on the same page with the people directing necessarily or writing, and then you had the crew who were building things, and at one point they actually even said that some people were showing up and didn't even know like what practical effects they were going to be working with, and then they were just told like the day of shooting, like, this is what you're working on or working with. And it's just, yeah, it's a very messed up sounding situation, very slapdash. And yeah, it sounds like that's kind of how Empire ran, and probably how Full Moon Features runs too. But this one is a great release. It's a lot of fun. It's definitely one of those great kind of so bad it's good films. So really enjoyed Arena. That's my number 3. My number 2 is Dolls. A lot of people love Dolls. Big fans out there. I remember there was a Scream Factory release, which there are some special features from the Scream Factory release on this release. I remember when that had come out, and it sold out pretty quickly. People really do enjoy this film. It's a fun one. It's a really good one. The stop motion that they have in this one is super awesome with the dolls. This film predates Puppet Master, so you kind of see where some of the Puppet Master ideas are being formulated in the movie. There's some really interesting and fun characters in the film. There's fun and ridiculous dialogue in the film. There are some great performances in it, and it is a compelling and fun and engaging story. It's basically like a fairy tale, and they kind of talk about that in the special features, which are good special features that kind of highlight people who worked on the film and just their experiences with it. But this is a really fun one. I understand why so many people like it, and I like it too. This wasn't my first time seeing it. I had seen it before and really did enjoy it. I watched it on Shudder before, but I'm very glad to own it now because it is a fun one. So yeah, Dolls is my number 2. So for people who are keeping track in their mind, that means that my number 1 for this release, or this box set, is one that a lot of people don't like at all. At least I've seen online, and that is the Dungeon Master. For me, the reason I like this one the most is because it is the best So Bad It's Good movie in the box set. I love So Bad It's Good movies. There's ridiculous acting. There are stupid characters. There's ridiculous dialogue. There are just ridiculous, stupid scenarios. There are practical effects that kind of look good, but kind of don't look good. And that's funny to me. I always find a lot of enjoyment in films like that. And the premise is just so ridiculous. It's basically about a guy who creates his kind of own like AI-driven computer. And then he gets sucked into it and is fighting the Dungeon Master, who's played by Martin Mull, which most people will know him from Night Court, the really tall, big guy. Who Martin Mull is great in this film. Like, when it comes to So Bad It's Good performances, like, his performance in this is phenomenal. It's so over the top. It's so ridiculous. It's so fun and funny. And I realized, like, when I was watching this movie, I didn't realize this, but it's an anthology film. It doesn't feel like it. It flows together kind of seamlessly for how bad the movie is, but, like, fun bad, obviously. But it's really an anthology film because it's this guy doing all these challenges that the Dungeon Master has set for it, in front of him in order to get his woman back, to save her. And each of the challenges was written and directed by someone different. So finding that out in the special features, I was like, oh man, I didn't even think this was an anthology film. That's cool. It's fun. It is so fun. If you like So Bad It's Good movies, it's all around So Bad It's Good. And there is one cool stop motion moment in it as well. But I know a lot of people don't like this one. This was my favorite one in there. And it wasn't easy for me to make a decision on what my ranking was going to be. I kind of like hemmed and hawed about it and went over in my mind a few times which one would be first. Like, because for a while I had Dolls as my number 1. But after thinking about it longer, I had to go with the Dungeon Master, and I was trying to decide if Arena was ahead of Cellar Dweller or not, or was Arena even ahead of Dolls? I don't know. Like, it's hard. So what I laid out is my final after thinking for quite some time. But this is a really good box set. It's a lot of fun. Obviously, the design of it is wonderful, and I would highly recommend people check it out if you have any sort of interest in any of the movies in it. So yeah. There you go. That's my ranking of the Enter the Video Store released by Arrow, Empire of Screams. And like I said, I'm excited for them to do more of these. So go ahead and put it in the comments. Have you seen any of these movies? Do you like these movies? What are your feelings on them? What would your ranking be of all these films if you've seen enough of them? And yeah, that would be awesome. We can just talk about that. Do me a quick favor, please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I do appreciate that. That's your best way to repay me for this free content. Thumbs up on the videos helps with the YouTube algorithm if you want to be helpful like that. And you can hit the notification bell button because then you'll know when I'm putting up new videos. But regardless, I thank you very much for taking your time to watch this. I do appreciate your time very, very much. And until next time, keep it brutal.